Ukrainian bishop. In the solidarity we receive, we find strength and hope. Bishop Vitalij Skomarovskyj of Lutsk, the president of the Conference of Catholic Bishops in Ukraine, Latin Rite, recalls 35 years of independence from the Soviet Union. Today we enjoy a real freedom of conscience. The current war has made me understand how priceless peace is for any nation. 35 years after the restoration of independence, which brought the Ukrainian people genuine and lived religious freedom, the nation continues to face the dramatic ordeal of war. In an interview with Vatican News, Bishop Vitalij Skomarovskyj, Bishop of Lutsk and President of the Conference of Catholic Bishops in Ukraine, Latin Rite, describes the devastating reality and the enormous price that people are forced to pay in defending their country. Echoing Pope St. John Paul II's warning that war is a great scourge, the bishop also highlights the extraordinary and enduring chain of solidarity and material and spiritual support that has come from every corner of the world.
Your Excellency, are 35 years of independence a short time or a long time? From a historical perspective, 35 years is not very long. But for us here in Ukraine, if we look back at everything we have experienced during this period, it represents an extremely long and eventful stretch of time. We went through the severe economic crisis of the 1990s and the subsequent effort to recover. And now, since 2014, we have effectively been living in a state of war, which escalated into a full-scale invasion in 2022. So, although it is only a brief fragment in our 1,000-year history, for us, it contains an immense journey.
What has the restoration of independence meant for the spiritual life of Ukrainians? Today, we live in an independent state and enjoy genuine freedom of conscience, not merely freedom written on paper. Every person has the opportunity to profess and bear witness to their faith. Naturally, as in any country, there may be bureaucratic issues, but freedom of conscience is guaranteed by the Ukrainian Constitution and is a reality experienced in everyday life. For us, this gift is extraordinary and unique, especially when we look at the past. The Soviet Union formally recognized the right to freedom of conscience in its constitution. However, for ideological reasons, the church and religion were systematically persecuted. At certain times, the persecution was brutal. At other times, it was more subtle. Believers were imprisoned. Some gave their lives for their faith, while others were simply denied any opportunity for advancement. They could not become teachers or doctors or hold public positions. It was a time of real trial. Even under the previous Tsarist regimes, the Catholic Church, and in fact all the churches, had faced severe restrictions. Even the Orthodox Church, which at the time was the state church of Imperial Russia, suffered from a suffocating state embrace that prevented it from freely carrying out its spiritual mission. That is why these 35 years of independence and religious freedom represent an absolutely unique experience for our country. Of course, the Church now faces new challenges and unprecedented problems, but whenever we celebrate Independence Day, we thank the Lord for the priceless gift of freedom enjoyed by our community.
It is often said that during times of persecution, people's faith was stronger because it was tested by suffering. By contrast, today, when churches are open and people can freely proclaim the gospel, faith seems to have weakened. What do you think? The reality is that life has changed radically. In the past, during persecutions, many people were afraid to have their children baptized because they feared reprisals at work. Today, quite rightly, no one forbids such things anymore. However, today people may risk devoting their entire lives to their careers or material well-being, neglecting time for others and for God, and eventually coming to see faith as something non-essential. I would like to give an example based on my own experience. When I worked in a seminary during the Soviet era, the state imposed strict controls on candidates, creating countless obstacles. As a result, anyone whose motivation was weak or whose character was fragile would not even manage to enter the seminary or would leave soon afterward. If it was discovered that a young man, perhaps someone who had completed military service or attended university, wanted to enter the seminary, he would be subjected to intimidating interviews and pressured about the reasons for his decision. Entering the seminary was a difficult undertaking. Some young men had to try for 10 years before succeeding. Today, by contrast, there are no such barriers. And yet, sadly, we see that the number of people who want to enter the seminary is very small, sometimes close to zero. Even in recent times, I have observed that many young people who began the seminary journey later realized that it was not the path for them. In short, we live in a completely different context, with very different circumstances.
What has this time of war revealed to you personally? Certainly, this has been a completely new experience, very different from my previous ideas about war, which I had formed by reading books, watching films, or following reports about wars in other parts of the world. This reality is completely different. I could never have imagined that war was actually like this. I would say that all of this has led me to agree fully with St. John Paul II. War is a great scourge, and if there is even the slightest possibility of avoiding it, everything must be done to do so. Peace is an immense gift, while war is an immeasurable evil for anyone caught up in it. I have come to understand profoundly that prayer for peace has immeasurable value, because peace is an extremely precious good. We probably understand its value most clearly when peace is gone, when there is war and everyone is in danger. Children, the elderly, the weak, and the strong. No one is excluded. It is then that you understand how precious peace, the absence of war, is for a people and a nation. Another great experience has been solidarity, the extraordinary closeness shown by so many people from every corner of the earth toward the Ukrainian people. And this solidarity, together with material and spiritual support, is enduring. People do not grow tired of praying for us and helping us. This is a tremendous gift. Such solidarity does not come from being forced to give it, it comes directly from the heart. It is the voice of people's hearts. And all of this gives us so much strength and hope. We continue to pray that this war will end as soon as possible.